Okay, now on to more hardcore labeling. So we're actually in our training kitchen where we work with clients who actually come into the office to do a little training, which we do sometimes. So one thing we have is some labels on the drawers. Like right here we have cooking utensils. But as you can see, it's kind of a small label. And we actually don't use them very often, so you actually won't probably find cooking utensils in there. Some of them are pretty accurate. We use them, but not all. But here's another option that's a much bigger label. That's about at least 1 inch thick. So you can write on it, or you can use this actually in a label maker. So you can make much bigger. There's a lot of options when it comes to labeling, especially for our low vision users. And you can actually buy label makers for pretty cheap. They were actually on sale the other day at, I think, Best Buy for less than $30, I think, for like a Brothers labeler. And it does pretty good size print. So there's some options with that. And you can even use some sticky notes to label things. You might have the chance of them coming off, but you can also use some tape to reinforce it. And then when it comes to doing low vision labels, we have a lot of options when it comes to colors. So maybe someone would do better with a blue instead of black on white. They may need blue on white. Or maybe you can get some colored paper, and Sharpie is pretty good about having some metallic Sharpies, and they actually you can actually see them on darker paper. So if you have that client who's like, prefers light text on a dark background, that's an option. So we have plenty of low vision features with labeling. So if you have someone who's a Braille user, you can see right here we have parsley, which is in a pretty generic container that you get at Walmart, screw-on lid. So parsley, and there is a very bold written parsley, so someone can see it, and it's on a piece of paper. It's not glued on, so they can exchange it and put it on a different bottle. It's just held on with a rubber band, so that is an option. There's also parsley label in Braille. So you can, so some Braille labels. But one thing that there was an error, whoever did this one, the Braille label itself is on the container. And if you're going to do some Braille labels for spices, canned goods, box goods, you want those Braille labels to be on something that can be removed. Whether it is, you can put them on cardstock. This is actually index cards that I cut up and I put a hole punch in. And you can take a rubber band, which I have rubber bands in all colors. And you can put that rubber band through the hole and get you a label and put it around whatever. And you can put your Braille label on the index card. So that way they can be reused. Although for seasoning, something like this, you can put your Braille label on the lid, because the lid you can transfer over to the new bottle. And so that's also for a low vision user. You can actually write maybe P for parsley on the top of the lid. And that's just with black marker. I talked a little bit about foam earlier. Here is ground cinnamon. And so on top there is a foam letter C. It's tactile, so you can actually feel it. Although the letters I got were kind of fancy letters, so if you did this, you want to maybe try to find some foam letters that are very, very straightforward, generic letters. But most people who maybe are not low vision users, but they would probably want to go the Braille route. but they don't have to. I know some people even cut foam up into shapes. So different shapes mean different things to them. So some options. And let's see, I'm going to transfer back over to a different